How's it going, everybody? I got some news for you from LinkedIn. Commutes can create work-life balance. In other news, the sky is blue, water is wet, and taking a break from your job in pretty much any capacity can create work-life balance. Now, apparently there's a brand new study that just came out. They followed some people that worked at a college and they asked them how disconnected they were from work based on their commute. We found that on days with longer than average commutes, people reported higher levels of psychological detachment from work and were more relaxed during the commute. However, on the days when commutes were more stressful than usual, they reported less psychological detachment from work and less relaxation during the commute. What else would you expect? Did you really need a study to prove this? During the shift to remote work, many people lost this built-in support for these important daily processes. Without the ability to mentally shift gears, people experience role blurring, which can lead to stress. We believe the loss of this space helps explain why many people miss their commutes. It's not actually about the commute, that's just what they're going to use, and then CEOs are going to use that and say like, I miss my commute too, look, the study said it was good for you. The first one here, CEO, 100% agree about the psychological benefit of having some commuting time. I've gone back to an office a few days a week, and I'm actually really enjoying having the transition time from my home to office again, especially at the end of the day. I'm so much less likely to work late simply because I'm sitting there. Now, can you see where I'm going with this? LinkedIn takes this article, uses the word commuting, and then a bunch of CEOs respond to it going, yes, I miss my commute. And then you have some no-name manager that reads this article and reads these responses and goes,
wow, the CEO of that company is going back? Maybe I should consider taking my company back to the office too. You know, I was just thinking about how much I missed that water cooler talk this morning.
And then they bring people back to the office. And so you can tell that, at least in my opinion, this article is at least a little rigged to just focus on the word commute because that's the controversial buzzword. But the summary of the study is like, just step away from work and keep stepping. Keep doing something else for a minute, and that'll probably be good for you. The longer you can do that, the better it'll be. But no, let's focus on the word commute and back to the office, you know? It creates a needed barrier that got eroded these past few years. We have Joseph here, again, a tech executive who has grieved the loss of their work commute. Sure, I've experienced the benefits of remote work, driving my son to school, seeing my wife during the day, walking the dog, okay. But my commute was a thing of real value, a space to get into and out of my work mindset. Literally just go drive your car, bro. Here's another one from Lucy. Now that I think about it, my old London commute used to provide meditative staring out of the bus window. Literally stare out of your house window. Why is this so hard? Why is this worth writing an article about? That time to set work aside, run a personal errand or two, and mentally plan my evening. I also miss my commute for the purposes of unwinding, running a few errands. This guy David right here is kind of funny. Yeah, he's a CEO like everyone else, and he says, I admit the majority of the time I did enjoy riding in my car to and from work. Probably the ride home was more enjoyable. Gee whiz, you think, David? If you come to David's experience, it's just, oh, it's good stuff. He graduated from Bowling Green State University and then went straight to vice president of Corporate United, baby. I don't know how that works. For all these people that are like, I miss the commute. If I'm at home, I don't have that time for myself. Blah. Here, I'm going to give you the solution. Are you ready? It's 5 p.m. I work at home and I no longer have a commute. There you go. Grab your keys, go for a walk, listen to some music, go work out, do something else besides work for a moment. Wow, groundbreaking study. The real TLDR here is that some people honestly just have an issue being able to turn work off, and they need that time to be able to turn work off. Yeah, sure, I get that. But you can still do that at home. You just got to have a little discipline. Now, next up, related to commuting and coming back to the office, we have Activision Blizzard, who is going to make everyone come back to the office. And this is what they said. Activision Blizzard has been returning teams to the office over the past year, and on February 13th, we updated our future of work plans in close partnership with each leadership team. We customize a plan based on what's best for our business and our teams. We look forward to the increased real-time in-person collaboration and opportunities this change will foster. I'm not super sure what people were expecting me to say on this topic, but they're software developers. They could work remote. They have been working remote. Things have been going great, but these companies don't want their buildings to just sit empty. So of course they're going to bring you all back. Working in the video game industry is tough. And if you combine that with the video game industry being very aware of how much people want to work for them, you get a recipe for people being taken advantage of. To put it simply, people will give up some niceties that they shouldn't just so that they can work on their favorite video game.
I was like, yeah, it's been my dream job since I was 12 years old.
And companies fully lean into that. Clearly, it's possible to develop video games while fully working from home, even if it goes a bit slower. But I think that might have just been because of the quick change to remote that disrupted everything in the processes. Research from the Harvard Business Review in 2021 found that public game companies that shifted to remote work reported 4.4 times more delays than before the pandemic. pandemic, while companies that did not shift to remote work reported fewer delays than before the pandemic. You could interpret the study in a different way and say companies that have never worked remote in a large capacity are suddenly forced to work remote and experience delays compared to companies that have never worked remote and continue to never work remote. The next one we have let's see. No, that's not it. This one. This is the one we want. Amazon, the BS employee letter. That's my favorite. Here we go. Here we go. Yep, they're forcing people to come back to the office now too. The CEO sent out a letter explaining why they're bringing everyone back, and it's your classic reasoning. It's easier to learn, model, practice, and strengthen our culture when we're in the office together most of the time and surrounded by our colleagues. It's especially true for new people, and we've hired a lot of new people in the pandemic. Okay. I feel like these are just... But it's also true for people of all tenures at Amazon. When you're in person, people tend to be more engaged. It really depends on if the meeting they're in should have been an email. They're more observant and attuned to what's happening in the meetings and the cultural clues being communicated. For those unsure about why something happened or somebody reacted in a certain way, it's easier to ask ad hoc questions on the way to lunch, in the elevator. See, these are the reasons why I don't like being in the office, because I don't want to do that small talk. I just want to do my job, communicate, get things done, and continue about my life. They're trying to extract all of those times when you're not working and convert them into work. Whereas when you're at home, you're less likely to do so. It's on purpose. We don't want to do it. It's also easier for leaders to teach when they have more people in a room at one time. Sure, I understand face-to-face communication can have its benefits, but I think it really depends on the person working there and just how invested they are into the culture of where they're working. Of course, there will be plenty of meetings that will have significant virtual participation. That's my favorite part about forcing people to come back to the office, because now they're going to be in their cubicles sitting on Zoom instead of at home. You're going to be sitting there using Slack or Teams, whatever, to your coworkers instead of getting up and going to ask them a question. You're going to be sitting in Zoom meetings because there are other people, probably contractors and so on, that have to join the meeting that are remote, that aren't bound by dumb policies like this. But you are, so you're doing the same thing that you would have at home, but collaboration and culture and stuff. Our culture has been one of the most critical parts of our success the first 27 years. Ah, yes, delivery drivers peeing in water bottles. That is a good part of your culture, huh? Collaborating and inventing is easier and more effective when we're in person. The energy in riffing on one another's ideas happens more freely. Maybe, it just depends on the people. In the more productive brainstorm sessions I've been a part of over the years, people get excited and blurt out new ideas or improvements to prior proposals. You're the CEO, dude. I bet you get excited about the stuff you talk about in meetings because it directly affects you and the company because you run that shit. Now take middle manager Mike from the depths of Amazon. No one really knows what he does. And now go to his meeting. You getting excited about the ideas that are thrown around in there? Probably not. This rapid interjecting happens more often in person because people feel less inhibited about jumping in or even interrupting sometimes. All right, so that was their reasoning. If you're in the office, you're going to collaborate way more. Now, there's this study here from Harvard that shows the impact of open workspaces on human collaboration. Purpose of this study is to show that if you have an open office, what tends to happen is that people communicate face-to-face 70% less. Now, I just want you to remember that Amazon is pretty much an open bullpen seating area. All these CEOs and bosses talking about in-person collaboration. This study says, all right, well, if it's an open office, your people are going to talk 70% less than if it was a regular walled office. Contrary to common belief, the volume of face-to-face interaction decreased significantly, approximately 70%. How did they measure this, you might be asking? They made a bunch of employees wear this necklace, and then as employees were facing each other, the necklaces would recognize that, and that would tag it as a moment of interaction. They did 2 studies. The first study they did was on a company that was opening up their space to increase productivity and collaboration, like we've seen before with all the other open office meme videos I've made. The 52 participants now spent 72% less time interacting face-to-face. In the second study, there was 67% less face-to-face interaction, but they actually started emailing people more instead. The TLDR of the study can be seen here. Adopting open offices, therefore, appears to have the perverse outcome of reducing rather than increasing productive interaction. Consistent with the fundamental human desire for privacy and prior evidence that privacy may increase productivity, when office architecture makes everyone more observant or transparent, it can dampen face-to-face interaction as employees find other strategies to preserve their privacy. For example, by choosing a different channel through which to communicate. Rather than having a face-to-face interaction in front of a large audience of peers, an employee might look around and see that a particular person is at his or her desk and send an email. Yeah, anyways, more of the same nonsense. We have LinkedIn over here baiting you with the commute word, saying, oh, commute can create work-life balance. And then all the CEOs respond, and then suddenly the CEOs are like, you know what, we're coming back to the office because I do miss my commute. And then that creates another news story. And as you can see, people would like to preserve their privacy. Probably why they'd most likely want to continue working from home in the first place. Just another day of corporate telling you they have your best interests at heart while definitely doing the opposite. Hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you in the next one.